Roster Watch Nation, welcome back to the Roster Watch Spotlight series. I am Cody Carpentier. You can find me on X at Cody Carpentier. Today, we're going to be jumping into the running back position. The running backs are a fun crew because, quite frankly, right now, there's no clear-cut number one in this draft class. The wide receiver position, we just finished up with that. You can find all those write-ups, all those spotlights over at rosterwatch.com under the rookie section. If you become a pro or a premium member, you can get those for free 365 days per year, along with everything else that comes at rosterwatch.com. Make sure you go over there and check in today. But now we're going to be jumping into running backs, and today's star spotlight is going to be shined on running back Ray Davis from Kentucky, sometimes known as Raymond. Now he's known as Ray. He was known as Raymond Davis when he's a running back at Temple for a couple of years, transferred to Vanderbilt where he crested 1,000 yards once. Temple, he nearly did. He was just 20 yards short. Vanderbilt, he hit the 1,000-yard marker once, and then he transferred to Kentucky for his fifth and final collegiate season, where he reached 1,000 yards once again. We're going to jump right into him here in just a second. But first, I want to please ask you to click that like button, click subscribe if you are here on YouTube. If you're on X, hit the heart, hit retweet. We appreciate you. We love you. If you're listening on podcast, again, make sure you drop 5 stars. Let us know who your favorite running back is in this class, because as I go out there and I look, and I don't look very much, I only look once I'm done with my work. I go look and see what everybody else is thinking about these guys. And there's like 8 different guys that I've seen listed as particular people's RB1 in this draft class, which is something we haven't seen in close to a decade. So it's a big conversation. It's going to be had over the course of the next couple of months. Ray Davis is one of those backs that's not in nobody's number one overall, but he is a back very interesting in this 2024 NFL draft class. Like I said, his freshman season at Temple, he was just a few yards short of 1,000 rushing yards. He did crest 1,100 total yards from scrimmage. He's done that 3 times in his 5 seasons. Then he transferred to Vanderbilt. Then he transferred to Kentucky. At Kentucky in 2023, he had 199 carries, 1,129 yards, 33 receptions. When you do look at the market share that we do, 59% of the team's carries, 23% of the team's receptions, 44% of the team's yards from scrimmage, and 62% of the team's scrimmage touchdowns, for a dark blue 47% total production market share for Ray Davis at Kentucky. He's 5'8.5". He's about 220 pounds. We got all of his measurements officially at the Senior Bowl. Now, the thing is, at the Senior Bowl, he did not shine. He was not a star. He did not overtake Marshawn Lloyd. He really wasn't in the top 3 conversation for the players that we discussed. I could pull up our nominations for the All Senior Bowl team, and I remember it being Marshawn Lloyd, Dylan Laub was on that list, Michael Wiley. Okay, so Ray Davis was out of the top 5, and then Dajuan Edwards. We're going to be doing write-ups on all these guys over the course of the next couple of weeks. But Ray Davis really didn't shine. He's a good bowling ball running back. That was kind of our big takeaway, but he didn't really get to see some of these things we're seeing on film portrayed to us at the Senior Bowl. Great dude. The thing is, for him, in the landscape of dynasty, in the landscape of fantasy football, is he is 24 years old. He's going to be turning 25 in November this year. So he's a little aged at the running back position, but that's okay. When you're scouring the internet and you're hearing what these guys think about, they're not looking for a guy in Ray Davis's situation to be on their team in 10 years. They're not looking for him to be a 3-contract guy. They're looking for him to be what I think he is a 4th, 5th round guy, late 4th, early 5th in the NFL draft. They're looking for that guy to just make the team, save them money, save them against the cap at the running back position, and be viable. I think Ray Davis brings a 2-down mindset to the game for an NFL team. He does struggle in pass protection. He was the 99th graded pass protecting running back out of 138, according to Cockamamie PFF. But again, he can do it. He can do it. Not good. But the one thing on the advice in the inverse of that is his receiving chops. His receiving chops are up there with some of the best. That's a little aggressive, but he did have 33 receptions this year. I think the thing that my takeaway is in his receiving game is his acceleration, his ability to separate. He's savvy in every part of the game that he utilizes on the film. In the running game, I think he manages the line of scrimmage well. I think his patience are up there in the Rachaad White conversation from a couple of years ago, where he doesn't just hit the hole. He doesn't just go, which he can. He's got the burst. He's got the breakaway speed. I'm projecting him for about a 4.47 in the upcoming combine in Indianapolis just a few short weeks from now. He's got the chops, he's got the speed, he's got the burst, but the acceleration that he utilizes in the rushing game also translates to the receiving game. I think that's something that is going to enhance Ray Davis's upside once he does get to the NFL. Speaking from a fantasy football mindset, my playstyle comp is Jerick McKinnon. I've seen a lot of different ones. One that we did roll out there at the Senior Bowl was another Ray Rice, a bowling ball from Baltimore, played at Rutgers. And Ray Rice was a stud. Everybody knows that. But I think he plays a little bit different on film than Ray Rice does. Ray Davis has he's kind of like a short, choppy muscle hamster type thing where his open field speed is kind of deceiving, where it doesn't look like his legs are striding as much, but they are. And they're really choppy and they're really quick. And you can just watch him vis-a-vis a defender, and you can see him pulling away from the majority of these guys when he doesn't really sell as a speed guy. He doesn't sell as a 4.40 guy. He sells as like a 4.53 guy. And then you see him in the open field and you're like, there's about a 4.46, 4.47 there if he can really pull it out on that speed turf in Indy. I think he can. So in fantasy football, again, Jerick McKinnon ran a 4.41. Jerick McKinnon was one of the most athletic running backs that's ever tested out of Georgia Southern. He's also a later round draft pick for the Minnesota Vikings. He had one season as running back 23 back in 2017. I think he had another year where he was running back 35, even on a fantasy points per game basis. Ray Davis is going to get drafted on day 3 of the NFL draft. He's going to be a late 4, early 5, maybe late 5. We'll see. He's going to be somewhere off in there. Getting 5 years in the SEC. He's old. He doesn't have the entire package. And this class is beat up. So a lot of these guys are going to fall for a bevy of reasons. But he'd have a 23% reception share and his last year at Kentucky. Like I said, I think his receiving chops are going to be what really separates him. And as soon as he goes on day 3 of the NFL draft, almost all, I would say 80% of the fantasy community will be out on Ray Davis. I've done 2 mock drafts over on X at RosterWatch on X. The first one was last week with Matty Kiwum. He did not go in the first 2 rounds of that mock. The second one I just recorded with Ray Garvin at Ray GQ. That's going to be up later this week. Ray Davis was not drafted in the first 3 rounds, and round 3 was full of running backs. And that just tells you what the class is built of. Ray Davis is going to be a 4th-round fantasy pick in dynasty drafts, and that's going to be a sick value. And that's going to be a guy we're going to be continually pressing that button on, even when he is drafted on day 3 of the NFL draft. I do think he brings a lot to the table. He's got strong vision. Like I said, I think that's one of his biggest takeaways is his patience, his vision, and his deceptive long speed. He was a first-team All-SEC rusher in 2023. He's second-team All-American in 2023, according to Sports Illustrated. Very good running back, Ray Davis, out of Blairstown, New Jersey. He was a 3-star prospect back in 2019. And again, he participated at 3 schools, Temple, Vanderbilt, and Kentucky, which is not a great thing on paper to say he transferred twice. But the thing is, he succeeded at all 3 places. He had over 1,100 yards from scrimmage at Temple, at Vanderbilt, and Kentucky. Rushed for over 1,000 back-to-back seasons at 2 separate SEC schools. His best game was over 280 yards against Florida this past season. That is Ray Davis, the running back from Kentucky. We saw him at the Senior Bowl. We're going to see much more of him at the Combine and in the NFL because he's going to be a sick value come the fall when we're playing fantasy football, because that's what matters. I'm Cody Carpentier. I appreciate you for tapping in. Make sure you head on over to X, follow at RosterWatch. Make sure you tap in here on YouTube. Click that subscribe button, click like, do all those things. We appreciate you guys. We love you. And we'll be back on Wednesday talking about one guy that's in the conversation for RB1, Mr. Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin.